Hi guys, welcome back. This is Laura from Shamanic Self, and today we're going to be talking about AI, everything AI related, just an accumulation of what's been going on lately. If you're someone who really doesn't believe AI is going to impact your life or already has an impact on your life, then this would be a good time to turn off this video and go back to La La Land. For those people who actually live in the real world, this is going to be very interesting for you. And we're going to go through a lot of different screenshots here, but the most significant one that was announced very recently, I believe it was on March 19th or March 20th, is this one. Nvidia announces AI nurses. I cannot play this video due to copyright reasons. However, I can link the original video below. It's around 1.5 minutes long, very, very informative. And we're going to go through what it is they're introducing. Nvidia is a company, which I'll discuss the name, where it comes from in a moment too. Nvidia is now powering AI nurses. The cheap AI agents offer medical advice to patients over video calls in real time. So this is a good screenshot of it where you see a person communicating with basically nothing, a bot in a face, an AI generated image, which is also generated by the exact same company. So we went through, we'll see it in the last slide of this presentation, but we went through how many people online are actually AI generated, and this person does not exist.com, that's an actual website, is by the same company, just to give you a little bit of context. So the same company who's powering these AI nurses is also creating fake images all over the interweb. Nvidia announced a collaboration with Hippocratic AI, interesting name, on Monday, a healthcare company that offers generative AI nurses who work for just $9 an hour. At this point in the US, that is less than minimum wage in a lot of states, just so you get a bit more context. Hippocratic promotes how it can undercut real human nurses who can cost up to $90 an hour with its cheap AI agents that offer medical advice to patients over video calls in real time. Voice-based digital agents powered by generative AI can usher in an age of abundance in healthcare, but only if the technology responds to patients as a human would, said Kimberly Powell, Vice President of Healthcare at Nvidia in a press release on Monday. Nvidia is powering Hippocratic's real-time responses over video calls. In a demo posted by Nvidia, which is this one that you see, a semi-human looking AI agent named Rachel verbally instructs a patient on how to take penicillin. The agent then tells the patient it will report back all this information to her real human doctor. Rachel is one of many AI nurses that healthcare providers can choose from, according to one of Hippocratic's product pages. The AI nurses range in specialties from colonoscopy screening to breast cancer care manager, all for less than the minimum wage. Hippocratic directly promotes how it can undercut the living wages of real nurses as a feature, not a bug. This is all from an article, by the way. I'm just citing this from an article. One page of the company's website compares a human nurse's $90 per hour salary to an AI agent's $9 an hour running costs. Hippocratic claims its AI nurses outperform the human nurses regarding bedside manner, education, and narrowly miss on satisfaction, according to a survey. This introduction of AI healthcare agents comes at a tumultuous time for the nursing industry. Over 32,000 nurses went on strikes around the country in 2023, representing a quarter of all major strikes in the US, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Nurses are dealing with worker shortages that predate the pandemic, which Hippocratic seeks to address. Yeah, right. What else are they saying? Okay, so they just announced this at the 2024 GTC conference, but this AI development was perhaps the most dystopian. Yeah, it's quite shocking, honestly. When I saw this, actually, a friend from Australia sent this to me, and I'm recording this pretty much when he sent it to me, and I'm like, wow. Wow, I had no idea, but it's not surprising. It is happening way faster than a lot of us have anticipated. I do want to say that. And of course, it doesn't mean they're going to employ them right away, but obviously, this is what they're trying to push, right? And this is the form of consent they're seeking from us. And consent is also when you just don't do anything about it, when you don't speak up against this, when you just say, oh, this is never going to happen. How is this really going to impact my life? You're basically giving consent to this agenda. I just want to point that out on an energetic basis if you really don't understand what's going on. So first, you're going to have the nurses. And what's above the nurses? The nurse practitioners. Above that, you have the doctors and then the surgeons. And, I'm pretty sure doctors and surgeons and nurses already do work with a lot of AI, especially in surgery. When you see all of the surgical instruments that they have, they work with a lot of computers, a lot of this and that, and all the fancy gadgets that they have. So it is a very AI controlled industry in that sense, such as many other jobs too. There's a lot of computer programming that goes into that too. But this is a new level. And this is a bit concerning because now would be a good time for people to wake up from whatever they are planning right now. And it ties into another, okay, so you can't really see this, but this is from a company that's doing a lot of data mining on people. And I don't want to name the company name, but on the website, it states, work from the comfort of your home. Tens of millions of dollars have been paid out to our dedicated members as they transform AI, do tasks, earn money, simple as that. You just have to create an account, you take a starter assessment, and you start earning. This company offers flexible work and transparent pay. You can work from anywhere. You don't need any experience with AI. You choose your projects. Basically, you can work at 4 a.m. in the morning for 3 hours, or you can work 8 to 9 on this whenever you want, 9 hours a day, 24 hours a day. And what this company's offering is a starting salary or starting compensation of $20 an hour. I found this because I saw this posted online by an acquaintance, and he was basically saying he's in the middle of nowhere, Dakota, one of the Dakotas. And he's basically saying he started doing this very sporadically a few months ago. He now earns up to $27 an hour. So you start with 20 an hour. I think it goes up to 35 or 37 an hour even. I guess the longer you're there, the more you get paid. So just imagine you're doing these tasks, and what they're doing is they're mining your voice. They're mining your entire facial features because you have to have a screen to complete all these tasks. He didn't say 100% what it is that you do, but they're basically just trying to, I'm pretty sure they're trying to get your voice recognition. They're trying to get all these things when they're sharing screen time. So you're basically just sitting in front of this assessment, and you have to have your camera on, you have to have your microphone on, all of that. So it's not hard to put one and one together. A lot of these jobs have been popping out of nowhere since 2020 on, since people were basically locked down. And for people who have a corporate job who earn maybe, I don't know, 200,000, 300,000 a year or whatever, sure, this doesn't sound like an appealing thing to do, but you need to really envision that a lot of people are hard pressed for cash right now. Some people work minimum wage jobs, other people don't really have a lot of employment opportunities in the areas there are. So being able to work from the comfort of your home with any type of internet from a screen, a computer screen or a phone screen even, and earning 20 or more dollars an hour, that can be very appealing for, just people who need the money right now with the current economic crisis that a lot of people are experiencing. And of course, these tasks it's not going to be a job you're going to have for 5 years. This is literally just going to be a few months, maybe a year that you're going to have it. But at that point, if hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people do this, they're going to have so much data that they mined, and you're going to have whatever money that you achieved and earned, that it almost doesn't matter, for these people, where the information goes, where the data goes. And this is really the entire catch of the AI industry. The reason that the tech industry collapsed, all these engineers were working on these great AI concepts, and then they all got fired because their jobs were being replaced by AI. It's a similar thing. So all these people who are going to work for a company like this, even if it's just on a freelance basis, they're going to give you all the data that you need. You're going to earn a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, it's going to create this whole dystopian society. And now you're working with AI nurses already. So let's go into the meaning of Nvidia before we do more AI. just to get back to the original topic, because I have a lot of screenshots I want to share on this. Like, I am legit on fire right now after finding this out, just because it's like, okay, we all know what they want to build up, but you need to wake up right now because they're doing it right here and people are not noticing what this means, or people don't yet understand fully the entire scope that it's going to encompass. So what really grabbed my attention was the Hippocratic AI. What does Hippocratic actually mean? It relates to the set of professional ethical commitments traditionally made by those entering the practice of medicine, inspired by Hippocrates and his writings. But Hippocratic means hypocrite. It sounds very familiar and very similar to hypocrite, doesn't it? Of course, people are saying, oh, hypocrite, Hippocrates, it's not related at all. One has an I, the other one has a Y, and then two Ps instead of one P. But language is just another form of spelling, and a spell they're putting us under, and things that sound similar usually are related on that level. Hypocrite is a person who claims or pretends to have certain beliefs about what is right, but who behaves in a way that disagrees with those beliefs. Isn't that the stereotypical definition of the medical industry and science in general? I mean, for people who are following this channel, I think you understand what I mean. The origin of the word hypocrite, it comes from the Greek word Hippocrates, which means an actor or a stage player. Makes a lot of sense to me. Does the word hypocrite come from Hippocrates? No, it's Hippocrates, not Hippocrates. Yeah, whatever. Hippocrates was a physician from ancient Greece. Hypocrite comes from the Greek word hypokrisis, meaning play acting. I think it's all related to one another, honestly. So we can talk about this all day long too. I mean, it would be a whole new concept, right? Like the way they're trying to mess with our words. And even when I'm recording this video, the way they're just trying to put all these words in my mouth and you just trip over your words, you know, all the technology they use so that you stumble over your words too. So Nvidia name origin, because that is the company that actually invented it. Nvidia comes from Nvidia, which is INVIDIA, the Latin word for envy, and the acronym NV, short for Next Vision. This company was founded in the 1990s. And there's a whole lot of background to how they got their name. They also have a very strange, I didn't even look at the logo yet. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh, they have an eye logo. Okay, so there's like this green eye logo, the Eye of Ra. We all know what that means, of course, complete takeover of the soul and through your hijacking of your eyes. And AI, of course, whenever there's an eye, there's an AI component to it. The company's name, Nvidia, pronounced Nvidia, was carefully chosen because of its nuanced meanings, which are tied to vision and envy. Well, why would you have to be envious of this company? That's my question. Nvidia, when you look it up, Nvidia Corporation is an American multinational corporation. It's based in Santa Clara, California. They make graphical processing technologies for computers and mobile devices like smartphones. Of course they do. It's all about data mining. The company supplies electronic chips for motherboard chipsets, graphic processing units, and game consoles. The game consoles was what grabbed my attention. And in 2023, it was said to be the world's most valuable chip maker. Demand for its artificial intelligence chips more than doubled its income in 2023. Of course, the stock market value jumped up to 1 trillion as well. No coincidence here. Nvidia was started in 1993 by Wang, Preem, and Malachowski. So those are three names that all sound very different. Jensun Wang sounds very Chinese to me. Chris Malachowski is a Polish background or a Czech background, like very Eastern European. And Curtis Preem, I know these are probably all Americans, but Preem also sounds a bit Polish to me, if I'm not mistaken. In 2000, Nvidia took intellectual possession of 3DFX, one of the biggest GPU producers of the 1990s. And Forbes featured them, of course, in 2007. Everyone who Forbes features, I would be very careful of that. The products that they produced are, so there's a bunch of Riva 128, Riva. But GPUs for game consoles, Xbox and PlayStation 3. I had this mother make fun of me in my messages quite recently, a few months ago. And this person did not understand how I was talking about soulless people, how they walk among us, and how probably maybe even her or her family members are soulless or what. I don't even know. I don't want to really discuss it in this video. I'm not trying to get back at anyone, but I'm trying to really enlighten people. You know, when you have a message and people don't understand it, they tend to make fun of it. But here we are with AI nurses. I just want to point that out. And this is something, you know, people like Alison McDowell have talked about since 2017 and on. And they were ridiculed. And now they're still ridiculed for what they put under, you know, on the YouTube channel and everything. But this is reality. And this is this a reality you want and that I consent to? No. But this is the reality the matrix controllers, the elite agents, they all want to push on us. And it's no coincidence it's happening right after 2020, when everyone was locked down. Everyone was in front of their devices, full on facial recognition, all the scans that they put, you know, you don't even put something on your camera the way I do. You don't even have like a tape or something on your camera so that they don't constantly take screenshots of your face because you're not aware of that. So my point is, this person was making fun of my messages, and I'm convinced that her son was actually playing Xbox or PlayStation 3. And it's always so baffling to me when those people who should actually be watching out what they put their children under are the ones who really don't understand at all what's going on. Let's put it that way. So they were making fun of me, how I was talking about the soulless people among us, and that's, you know, majority of people probably are just these background characters. I'm not saying that in a hateful way. It's just a statistical, realistic way to look at your reality. I see it all the time. I'm in New York City. I just went to a Target and a different store the other day, and I was zapped because I was standing in line and could feel all the people around me. Basically, I just saw it as rays coming towards me and trying to zap my energy away from me. And of course, the line was longer than usual because when you're in that situation, all the energy suckers want more and more of your energy. So all of a sudden, the cash register isn't working. This isn't working. So you have to stand in line for an extra 30 minutes, right? So this is how I experience that reality. When I'm zapped, when I'm in a crowd of people, even though I put up triple protection, I know that a majority of people around me were soulless because they're plugging into my energy, just like they're plugging into an outlet to refresh their energy, if that makes sense. So long story short, I'm pretty sure this person somehow had an Xbox or a PlayStation in their house, even though, you know, they're very anti-screen, whatever. But this is exactly how it all started, you know, with Xbox and PlayStation. This is how the corruption of the teenage mind and the child mind starts. It's great that you're not giving your kid a phone or a tablet or a laptop until they're 16, 17, 18 years old or whatever. But if they're still playing computer games or if they're playing all these games, that doesn't make a lot of sense because they're still plugged into this reality. And there's still a lot of data mining and infiltration that's happening with these things. So Nvidia is in charge of Xbox, PlayStation 3, and we all know how that can really corrupt a young person's mind. By corrupt, I don't even mean, you know, it's the devil's work or whatever, like all these religious nutcases, but I literally mean it can corrupt everything, especially if your pineal gland still isn't developed, if your entire, you know, brain is still developing up until you're 25 years old, it's going to corrupt so much. So that's what Nvidia does. And then we have that other company that pays up until what, between 20 and 35 bucks an hour. The longer you're there, the better. Now, I went through a few of my screenshots on TikTok. These are from over a year ago. I was talking about smart cities, how they make this out to be the most beautiful, best thing ever. I was talking about this experience I had when I was in Morocco in 2023. I met this guy from Saudi Arabia, an engineer who had actually studied in the US. He studied at one of the New Mexico universities. I forgot which one. And these are people, they educate themselves here and then they go back to the Middle East or wherever they came from, and you still don't question your reality. So it doesn't even matter where you live. It doesn't matter if you live in Saudi Arabia, if you live in Asia, if you live in the US, if you live in South Africa, if you live somewhere in Europe, it legit doesn't matter. A lot of Europeans like to hate on Americans for Americans being so stupid and dumb. But to be honest with you, every single time I go back to Europe, because I'm European myself, I'm always so shocked how all of these EU people swallowed the Kool-Aid of 2020 on, did not have any protests really for the you know what in 2021 and on, and how America is still the stupid nation, blah, blah, blah. I'm just so tired of the hate that this country gets from other arrogant European nations. Just a little rant on that, because this is a prime example of this Saudi Arabian engineer going back to Saudi Arabia and basically building up this smart city. It's called Gnome. Was it Neem or Gnome? I don't know. I have to look it up, but you can look it up yourself. And so they want this finished by 2030. He was making this out to be, oh, the most vibrant, best thing ever. And he was explaining that to me and another girl on the train, because we were taking a train together somewhere in Morocco. And I just look at him and I'm like, are you even for real? That's a situation. You just met a person, you don't want to insult them. But I legit couldn't listen to this anymore. I was literally, asking him all the questions. I'm like, oh, do you think this is smart that people live in smart cities? Like, isn't this just replacing the traditional culture that you had in your country? And he could already tell that I wasn't impressed by what he was doing, and he was trying to pull away. But like, I just can't even sit still when people are ignorant like this, no matter which country you're in. So it comes from all paths in life, like the smartest, most educated people don't understand. People with a PhD fell for the agenda, whereas people who have no school education, no high school degree whatsoever, question their reality more. Not saying every single person is like that, but you get the point. There was another thing around a year ago where there was an article, a lot of job listings that are online are actually fake, and that the companies just put them up because they have to, just kind of drive up the employment rate, especially in this country. I sent this one to my father, and he was baffled. Another candidate has 2 master's degrees, but never questions his reality. And he's like, oh no, how can this be? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, how can this be? Because it's all part of the economic crisis that's been going on. It's all part of brainwashing people. It makes a lot of sense why they would put up fake job listings. Here was another good one. Amazon was sued for not telling New Yorkers it was using facial recognition to monitor their customers. I don't know if this was 1 or 2 years ago, but I put it up. And these are just screenshots that I took from my social media, by the way. That's why they look a bit strange. Oh, this was a good one. Okay, so I can't play a single one of these videos, but I can discuss them. There was this is a typical example of a French girl in Dubai, another girl who doesn't understand it. And of course, she's EU, because EU people really don't like to question their reality, except for the ones that are watching this channel and other people's channels who talk about this. But you get the point. I mean, you understand my frustration, right? So this Frenchie girl lives in Dubai, and at this point, she probably thinks she's the coolest chick out there. She walks into this mall-like setting, and she doesn't even have to swipe her card or anything. The devices that are at the front of the store pick up on the card. Yeah, I forgot what that technology is called again, but you can have sleeves against it so that they can't steal your information like that. So basically, she doesn't even have to scan their card. And they have the same thing in LaGuardia now, where you actually do scan your card, but that's it. So she goes into the store, picks up whatever she needs, leaves it again, doesn't have to scan her card at all when she leaves, and they just calculate for her what she purchases. There's no cashier needed, no worker in the store needed to help her. It's all stocked up, everything, probably stocked up by robots, whatever. And she really thinks it's the best thing out there. I got a comment on it when I reposted it. I reposted as satire, by the way. And the person was saying, it's all good until criminals figure out a way to use your card, and it takes years to resolve. I think this is in reference to identity theft and the movie Identity Theft, which came out 20 plus years ago. But it's very true. Obviously all of this can be abused to that as well. And to be honest with you, like, I don't even want to install all these apps on my phone or whatever. A lot of people now just use the Apple app, just to kind of, instead of swiping your card, you just put the phone on there. But what if someone actually steals your phone and gets entry to all of that? It's all gone, right? You have to think about those things for sure. So this is just another example of AI world in Dubai. It's not surprising they're doing all of this in Asia, in the Middle East. These countries and these areas in the world have a very strong cultural background, similar to how they were extremely hard lockdown wise, Italy too. So they're really trying to get the culture out of those very, very ancient cultural sites and countries. This was just a little gimmick in Japan. So he was basically making orange juice with just shaking this thing. It's like an AI thing. It's not even that AI, you know, but it kind of shows you don't need a juicer anymore. You don't need any of these gadgets anymore. All you need is this one bottle. You put your orange in there, it shreds it up for you, and you have orange juice within 2 minutes, basically. I just found it was, yeah, it's not surprising that this is happening in Japan because Japan is basically a robot nation in addition to Korea, at least in my opinion. I think it's even worse than China because in China you can still find authentic things if you really look for them. But Korea and Japan are really being overtaken by the entire robot cafe culture, which you'll see right here. So this was in Korea where a robot is serving your food and preparing your food at the table. And here as well, no, we have to go to the other one. Robot cafe, yeah, in Japan. So this one's in Japan where you see the actual robot. I don't know if I posted this a year ago on this channel or not, or if I posted it somewhere on a different social media. I do get my comments mixed up sometimes, but someone commented being like, oh, I would never go there or never support this. But what if you don't have any other things around? What if this is the only thing that's in your city, a robot cafe, you know? Or what if this is the only option you have? So this is another one. This is a self-service ramen cafe. Where is it? In Korea. A 24-hour robot and AI ramen shop with no employees in Korea. And Sandy commented, how can they guarantee this is sanitary? It's a no for me. I don't want a machine to feed me. Right. No one wants this. I mean, tourists go here and they took a bunch of pictures and videos of it about a year ago. It was a big hype. Oh, let's go to the robot cafe in Korea and Japan. But at the end of the day, if they're already introducing this, they're probably anticipating that's going to be needed in the future, either after another lockdown or another agenda that they're going to pull off. I'm going to tell you right now, the next 6, 7, and plus years are going to be very crucial. Like between now and 2030, we need to wake up because this is exactly what they're trying to build. They already have all of the bio stuff when you enter your airports, every single where, all over in Europe, you know, like whatever's in your passport, or all the new passports that are coming out right now, you know, all the biometrics, it's in every single thing all over the world. Doesn't even matter if you're in a third world country or not. So it's part of the agenda and you need to be a bit more aware of it. This was, I think, in Korea. AI is such a great idea, replacing jobs wherever you go. People were commenting and really upset, being like, well, who wants to be a server or a cook or whatever anyhow? I actually know people who enjoy that job. I myself have done the service industry too. Didn't necessarily enjoy it, but it was definitely an experience that I do recommend to some people, especially just to kind of see what type of jobs are really out there and to appreciate a different job once you have a different job and really appreciate every single job that's out there too. But because some people think they're better than others and that these are menial tasks or whatever. And I don't think that at all. I think you have to go through all different stages to experience these things. But it's not about being like a service industry job being replaced. Right now, we're talking about nurse jobs being replaced, which people went to school for that for 4, 5, 6 years. They have student debt for that. And you're being replaced with an AI bot in the nurse industry. And so this is how it starts. So let's just go back to a few other screens. Oh yeah, this one for sure we had AI generated images of African women, you know, oh, beautiful woman right here. She's fake. Great. So now we're dealing with people not being able to differentiate whoever they're talking to online, real or not real. And how do you know the person you're talking to in real life is real or not real? You know, and this is what it's really going to lead to. And now you should be thinking about background characters because this is all, I mean, it's all just such disclosure. This is another good one. A 28-year-old billionaire has this $83 million house. He gives us a tour of his house. And basically he's the founder of what? He became a billionaire because of what? Self-driving car automation. And he wants the masses to give up their souls to live in his AI world. He's selling pseudo spirituality as luxury once you give them your retinal scan. And I added your soul because that's basically what it is, you know, giving your retinal scan, giving access to your eye. So the car automation industry, you hear a lot of self-driving cars drive themselves into ponds and off of cliffs and people dying because of that. Yeah, nice job. Nice job. Great way to be a billionaire. Which all these people are just puppets. You know, they're not the ones who really invented this. They're just similar to all these I mean, yeah, like just look at Meta, look at like Facebook Meta, people who are supposedly the faces behind these. Zuckerberg, like he never invented it. He's not smart enough to invent this. He's a clone, you know? So just putting all these puppets in the right positions, people believe, oh yeah, you can be a billionaire when you're 28 without having to give up your soul for sure. No, that's not how it works. That's never how it's going to work for the elite. So we had the robot cafes. Oh yeah, I went to the MoMA in May 2023. That's for the first time since 2018. And I was shocked because the first thing that I came across was this AI art installation and people were hypnotized by it. So this is not even a frame really. It's just like a projection on the screen that changes shape. And people were staring at it and hypnotized by it. Simon commented, it doesn't look like that new of a concept. And it's true, it's been around for a while. But just the fact that they're putting it into the MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art here in New York City in Midtown, already shows that now they think it's the right time to display. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is it the right time to display? Then we had the webcam as art in the New York City MoMA. And Yannick commented, our phones can do better. Yeah, it's true. But how ridiculous is it to put a webcam from 2005 as art in a museum that's supposed to be world class? I mean, come on, guys. Like, this is just it's such brainwashing that's going on, right? They had other ones like surveillance videos. I just took a picture of all these cameras from the 90s, like screens from the 90s. And it was such a throwback to see how we've basically been surveyed for so long, you know, since the 60s, 70s, 80s on, especially if you are in these bigger cities. My one friend said in 2001 and on, after 9/11, she would see cameras everywhere on every street corner in New York. The surveillance was out of control. That's when the surveillance really happened here in this city, according to her. Of course, it was there beforehand, but that's when she really felt there were more and more cameras everywhere. And that makes you wonder a lot about the 9/11. Why did it really happen? You know, why was it instigated? Was it to put more cameras up to survey more people and to bring that aspect in as well, in addition to other aspects too? So very interesting the way she described that. And this is from the 90s. I think it was from the 90s, or was it from the 80s? No, it was from the 90s. So it's being normalized. Surveillance in the 90s being normalized to to basically for us to comply to it right now. So this is how it all started. Here you have the Dubai Museum of Future, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a whole dystopian reality with huge skyscrapers that they want to build up to, all AI or all artificial. It's like a projection that they have in the museum. I kind of want to go there just to see this because it's ridiculous that people are even paying money to see it. But yeah, and then they have all these artificial cities in China, the AI world versus the real world. What would you rather want to live in? Who wants to live in this inorganic AI world when they are trying to create right beneath our noses, right? I forgot where in China this was, but it's so hard to play a video on here because of the copyright thing. And, you know, they always have music on TikTok, so I can't really play them on here, but you can go to my account if you have an account on those social media apps. There was a 3D billboard in Japan, not surprising. And this billboard basically just really comes at you. So there was like this panda bear coming at you in Japan. 3D, it's not necessary. You don't need a 3D billboard, you know, like just put up some nature. Don't even have these billboards. Like it's radiating, it's EMR, EMF, it's really damaging your auric field and your biofield. So why even have all of this? This was interesting too. I think this happened in August or September. The 2 Vegas casinos that fell victim to cyber attacks, shattering the image of impenetrable casino security. Yeah. What does this show you? Once they hack your bank accounts, once they hack every single thing of you, you're basically at their disposal, right? Could be actual hackers doing it, but it's probably the government doing it somehow and making it seem like it's hackers. And we all know what happened with this entire banking crisis in Greece and Cyprus back in 2014-ish, where basically they just shaved off half of people's income. People were earning, I think, more than 100,000 or had more than 100,000 in their bank accounts. They just took 50,000 out of that and they never got it back. And this is really what can be done when all your money is in the wrong bank account, or when everything's online, online banking, AI, all of that. So right now, I saw another video of a person who was banking with Chase Bank. I used to have Chase Bank and I got rid of them back in 2019 already. I didn't like the way they were operating. And she's basically saying that she was working in an industry like construction industry where people were depositing checks, and basically they didn't want to acknowledge the checks anymore, or they wanted the full addresses and phone numbers of these people in order for her to even receive her money, which is such an intrusion of privacy and everything. So she just I guess they froze her account for a few weeks or months or whatever, and she just decided to not bank with them anymore, which I would have done if I were her too, because it's very shady. I mean, we're talking about larger sums, but just the fact that an American bank is doing that. I've also heard a few horror stories from British banks where people who were just being paid online a lot, they had their accounts frozen over the pandemic period too, and then it took a few months to get it back, or they had to go viral online for the bank to even react to it, something like that. So it can be a nightmare, what's happening in the banking industry. We had this one. Dubai's working on a 1,200-mile underwater train to India. Not sure what happened with that. But what was interesting is that it kind of came out during the entire Israel-Gaza conflict. And here's another one. So none of these faces are real. And who is this research sponsored by? Nvidia, right here, Nvidia. I didn't even notice that until I just saw the Nvidia AI nurses story. Can you believe it, you guys? Nvidia keeps popping up over and over and over again. And we had a really interesting comment right here from a person. Are all the videos about Gaza AI? I didn't mention it in this video, but that comment actually got me thinking too, yeah, maybe everything we're seeing just to evoke more separation and more pity and compassion and hatred between people. Oh yeah, how can they just bomb millions of people, on both sides? Yeah, maybe those are all AI generated images. Who knows? Wouldn't be surprising. At this point, nothing's surprising anymore. So that was my AI rant. Let me know if you have anything to add to it. I hope it wasn't shocking, which I don't think it was. If you stuck throughout this video or have been following this channel for a little while, it probably wasn't. Thank you so much for watching, for commenting, for subscribing, for your attention. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye guys. Have a lovely one. Stay real, stay organic, keep your soul intact.